Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships in our Friday edition video, where I'm going to be featuring the Tier 10 Japanese destroyer tech tree, the Harugumo. So this is the counterpart, where you go all the way up to the line, the Shimakaze, one of the most popular, or among the top most popular destroyers in the game, which is all about the torpedoes, and then you go something like this line, which is really powerful guns as a destroyer. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Harugumo, and I'm going to talk about my thought process in the battle and how I've been playing the Harugumo. So for those of you who've been subscribed, following along a little bit longer in the channel, you know that I have Yamamoto Isoroku. You know that I had run him on the line for the Yamato, but I decided when getting Harugumo that, you know what, I want to try Yamamoto Isoroku out on the Harugumo and see if we can activate his talents, which I do not do in this battle, so I don't want to get your hopes up. But some amazing things happen in this game. That's close calls, but you'll have to see at the end. So the Harugumo is a feisty Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. She's a, how would I say her as? She's definitely gunboat, but she doesn't have the maneuverability to just open gunboat. Like, her turning circle radius is abysmal, her rudder shift time abysmal. She's a large Tier 10 destroyer. She has a large health pool, but she's not maneuverable, where you can just simply gunboat open in the water. Oftentimes you're relying on your smokes, which you can see we have 3 smokes, to get a lot of her effective damage per minute output with these 1,000mm guns. And these guns, without the inertia fused high explosive, pin 30mm. So she does just fine against enemy destroyers, but if you put something like IFHE on, then you're going to be pinning 37mm, which you see a lot of 32mm at Tier 10. And so being able to pin that is really great. Or I say 32mm, it's like basically you see that even Tier 8, Tier 9, Tier 10, right? So you can even get more effective damage output. Her fire chances are low, and I've not enjoyed trying to play Harugumo as a fire starter, even though she has such fantastic DPM. But I just go for the raw damage, and so I actually run the IFHE skill here on Harugumo. So here on Faroe Islands, I'm kind of tagging along with the Lo Yang, although honestly he's getting a little too close for comfort. I mean, he's already within radar range of the Puerto Rico, and it's too early to be too aggressive to push in, so I'm just playing with my speed throttle. I'm just moving around to see how I can set up here. I'm also wanting to find out, okay, there's the Elbing, which you see is on the H9, because I want to be able to run defense for my team. Now, as the Des Moines here, I'm actually willing to share one of my smoke screens with him, even though I don't get so many to begin with, because I value his radar, I value the DPM the Des Moines can put out. So I don't just drop a smoke for people. I ask, and then I want them to confirm in chat before I'll even consider giving them one, because I want them to acknowledge that. The Lo Yang, way too close for comfort here, so he's already getting focused there. So it looks like he is on radar from the looks of things. So I got to see how he does here. I'm trying to figure out if I can get behind this smoke screen that the Lo Yang dropped to get some shots off on the Duncan, but I don't want my position to be known here yet. I don't want them to know that there's another destroyer here, because the Lo Yang did a terrible job. He got way too close at the beginning of the battle, and he put himself between an island and like 6 enemy ships. So yeah, pretty potato. So I did go ahead and use dump one set torpedoes, and I even used the torpedo reload booster, because torpedo reload booster takes so long to come off of cooldown. You can see it was quite some time, and then you have to wait almost 3 minutes for your torpedoes in general. So I have ran into the Kitakaze, the Elbing, like I wanted to. So we're gonna focus him, and you can see we're getting decent damage here. I'm gonna angle away because I take his AP seriously, and he was sitting still when he stopped, basically. So we're gonna keep shooting him in the smoke screen. There's no reason for us not to stop firing. And I'm fishing for him now, and I'm like, I think he's probably gone forward now. And also, if he's smart, he'll probably know there's some torpedoes possibly coming his way. So even when you have a destroyer who's sitting still in the smoke, you just keep shooting. There's nothing wrong with being able to shoot. Now with the Puerto Rico, I'm pretty sure he's already used his radar, but with the low yang, but I'm expecting it's probably getting closer to coming off of cooldown. So it's important for me to just go ahead and run, not just sit there in the smoke screen and farm him. Although if I maneuver and I switch my guns around like the way I am now, I have a good chance of just being able to stay dark and shooting the Puerto Rico if I put my smoke screen between me and him. So that's what we're doing now. I don't want to just open gunboat him. I want to be able to utilize the smoke screen, of course, if Puerto Rico stays lit. And I go ahead and use the engine boost because I know it's important for me to try to open the range. You can actually build with the commander. I've gone for a long range, the 15.1 kilometer build. That's because you can do wonders with these guns, especially when they have that 37 millimeter penetration. So I have gone for that. And then in the 6th slot, I've gone for the reload, not the range, because I think you can get to select over like 17 kilometers maybe if you go full gun build. But we are continuing to open the distance, and I slow down because I want to keep my smoke screen between me and him. And you can see my smoke screen counter. I have 10 seconds on that last puff, but he has his radar back up. So now we're gonna go ahead and start accelerating here. And I'm also, this Elbing, if I'm able to get shots on him, I want to be able to punish him. But I want to go ahead and get outside the radar range of Puerto Rico. He's not sailing towards us, so when our fire penalty goes away, we will be able to go dark. So my Cleveland way too close for comfort with the Puerto Rico, and I took a big slap there. I wasn't paying attention very well to that incoming salvo, so I played that poorly. Cleveland getting way too close for comfort, and I feel like I don't have a choice here, that I just need to go ahead and open up. I'm going to keep opening up the distance, of course, between me and the Puerto Rico, but I'm pretty sure Cleveland is going to be going down here. So and he just died from the main battery of the Puerto Rico, so I want the Puerto Rico to go down. I don't want to have to deal with his radar. I don't want him to have the opportunity to get a heal off. So we're going to keep shooting at him and get a fire, actually, and get the kill. Now you've actually seen we have 179 hits and we have 3 fires, so of course you still have a chance to set fires. It's just like, I think it's like 2.5% or something like that. It's really low. So Harugumo, her concealment, we have set for 6.2. We've gone full conceal build. I feel like her concealment, it's not bad. It's not great. But I think it's good, honestly. It's only 6.2. I mean, those other destroyers have 6.4, 7, or even greater, like the Russian destroyers. So I feel like building into her concealment is totally worth it. So that is why I have gone that route. And I'll talk more about this build tomorrow, of course, in our upgrading commander build video. So now there's really no point for me to stick around and see. I don't feel like it's worth the time. I don't have any support. Just this Jean Bar, who's sitting up here on the backside of Bravo. I feel like I can be more of a use here at Bravo and to make my presence more known here. So I'm going to move up, keeping an eye on the Conqueror, seeing what he's up to. Probably will get into Bravo and use a smoke screen and set up shop. And I look over and I see our Converti is super low on health. So actually keep an eye on him because he's going to be pretty helpful a little bit later on in the battle. So the Alsace, the Duncan are moving up. And I feel when you use the smoke screens, well, not feel, what works best, in my opinion, when you have something like the Harugumo, these Kitakaze, when you use the smoke screen, ideally you want to be able to have multiple target options to shoot at. You don't want it to smoke up just for one ship because if that ship goes dark and you never see him again, like you just wasted the smoke. So here with our gun range, and I'm kind of spamming the M key because I'm trying to get shot C above you of the turpets. But here, we are in a pretty target-rich environment. We have the turpets, we have the Conqueror, we have the Duncan, we have the Alsace. So even if we have a ship go dark, we can just pick up another ship to fire at. The Conqueror, of course, he's got the super heal, but I kind of want to drive the Conqueror away. I don't want him sitting so close to Bravo, so sometimes you have that ability as a destroyer player where when you keep slinging shells at them, you can push them away. Now with the Elbing's not maneuverable, although his AP hurts. So I want to pick on the Elbing a little bit more here. And so we're going to be shooting him. And he's accelerating forward. You can see he was slowing down, so I'm going to keep shooting. He was sitting still, so there's no need for me to cease firing. See if we can get some more pin damage on him. And then there's the Elbing briefly spotted again. So now we're going to start shooting at the North Carolina. And so we're kind of playing this role pretty well of just keeping the battleships from pushing in. I want to try giving my team some breathing space. It took us a long time to get A, and I felt A was really important. I don't know if I had already typed in chat that to get A, like we needed it because of how strong the enemy team is down to the south. Although it did pay FA price eventually to pick up the alpha count. Because in this point in my mind, with the enemy team having pretty strong positioning, pretty strong on health, you can see actually from the top is over like 120k difference. That's when the game transitions more into a points game. So if I'm able to, of course, exert more influence and kill some enemy ships, great. But the reality is this is becoming more of a points game. So I really need to be able to try to help my team out in that way, and that we need to focus on the caps. So I'm trying to see what the Alsace is doing. I'm checking out, see what the Elbing is doing. Sometimes it's nice when you get to dump torpedoes and those multiple targets that you might possibly get hits on. So you can kind of see me hopping around here, see what's going on. But we go for that North Carolina because I'm pretty sure he's just going to keep moving up that way. Then you got the Duncan in the mix, you got the Elbing in the mix. So maybe we get lucky there. We'll have to see. So I'm going to hold on to the torpedo reload booster just for a moment. I'm being mindful of the island, and now I feel like let's go and use torpedo reload booster. Let's see if we can't knock out this turpets, because I do want to help my team up in alpha. And you can see there's multiple ships kind of swinging around in there. So let's see if we can help out our teammates there. And we also have an Akazuki somewhere in the area. So now I'm already planning my exit strategy. You can actually see our Converti DD player is swung down and around behind them, and he's going to be flipping C here shortly. So fantastic decision for him to make with the amount of health he had left, and like playing really wisely. Now I have a couple enemy ships that looks like they're in the range of our torps, and so we pick up the Elbing, which is very helpful to get rid of him. So I don't know if he just didn't see the torps in time or just was not able to maneuver away from them. So I have a GK back behind us to our, or I guess to our right. So trying to see what he's up to, and I was waiting to see, is the Duncan gonna push past the island and push right in? And he fires, which with the smoke fire penalty, I'm still able to see him. So now we're gonna farm the Duncan. He showed his card that he wants to push into the cap, so I can make really good use of this smoke screen. And also I'll grant to see what the North Carolina is up to as well here. So we're going to focus him down. We get a fire set. And oh, Elbing torpedoes, but they run out, so thankful for that. So we'll go back to focusing shooting the Duncan. Duncan has used a repair party, so now even with our adrenaline rush kicking in a bit, we're just going to melt him rather quickly, and it looks like our GK is helping us out here with his secondaries. And you can see North Carolina is like, I don't think I want to go into Bravo. Now, the other thing you had to keep in mind, I didn't say this sooner, was I know there's an Akazuki back behind me. I know he has torpedoes. So I positioned myself not broadside to him where I thought he was. I wanted to position myself away So if he did fire torpedoes, I would have time to react. And that's really important, especially with Akazuki, just because your maneuverability is so poor, and your rudder shift is terrible. To be able to position myself where I can move away from torpedoes coming at me versus in. So I wanted to have the exit strategy, so that worked. Though we're outside of our smoke screen now, so we're going to check, make sure that smoke is still between us and the North Carolina. And now we're going to focus on the Tirpitz, who's decided he's going to be pushing into Bravo. Now, I have a limited time left on the smoke screen, as you can see, 15 seconds. So I really want to be able to get as much damage per minute here on the Tirpitz. We've got fire set, so you can actually a fire set, but we have over 400 shell hits. So we pick him up, we get the general offensive, and someone else is on Bravo, so Akazuki. So as I ping the map, there he is. So we're going to take some pot shots at the Akazuki. To me, it's worth resetting him to get some shots off here. I really want to get this island between me and the North Carolina if I can help it. So I focus on that's the goal here. And as we turn away, we avoid these Akazuki salvos coming in. So we've pushed the Akazuki off Bravo. Our converti has Charlie. So now we are in control of all the caps. And so this is working out really well for our team, but unfortunately we are losing our Monarch to Conqueror's HE with fires. And now I want to get the island between me and the Conqueror, and I want to open up on the Conqueror, because Conqueror is pushing in. So when you're in a Harugumo, you really get to punish battleships that push into your position, especially if you can do it dark, like we're able to do here. One of the challenges, why I think you don't need to go beyond 15 kilometers with the Harugumo, is that the shell travel time, I mean, you can see it's just kind of a rain of these orange wedge shell tracers because of having Yamamoto Isoroku as our commander. But you can struggle a little bit trying to land the shots at range. Even though the Conqueror is at 12 kilometers away, we're not doing too bad. You can see that we're landing some, but it's taking some effort on our part to try to get comfortable where I felt like I lacked a little bit of the accuracy there. So we move up. Keep shooting Conqueror. Now you can see off to the south, our Converti is in a rather tight position with this Henri, so I don't expect our Converti to make it. So I just have to see how that goes, but we do pick up the kill on the Conqueror, which is great. And now we're going to be setting up for this North Carolina, which looks like he might decide to push in here. And that's when I know it's Converti. I'm like, ooh. I don't envy him because I don't think he's going to be able to get the trade off here. So I'm just trying to encourage my team at this point to live and win. If you notice, we're 929 points, less than a minute on the clock, even though they're flipping alpha. So if we live, we're going to win pretty shortly here because the enemy team has 110k to our 13k health. But GK, I mean, I guess it's probably wishful thinking on my part. He's pretty low health right in front of them, and wishful thinking with Converti. It would have been nice if he just would have flipped C and probably ran to the back. So now it's just going to be me to be able to win this. So the challenge here is I have to live for the next minute 45 seconds as we pick up Confederate and not die. And we'll still win even if the enemy team gets all 3 caps. So I'm going to run away. I'm not going to test it and go for A because of the Holland. I'm checking the right bar. Holland looks like majority of his health. I don't want to mess with Holland when we can just simply win on the points we have. So that's one of the reasons why I was trying to get my team to cap A. Like we have to move on this. This is becoming a points game. So understanding that early on is helpful. And I think I did type in all caps. I don't mean to sound angry when I do that. I was just trying to really emphasize my team that we need that cap. So regardless, I'm going to go ahead and decide I want some resets. So I'm going to focus on shooting North Carolina, and maybe I can land some shots on the Akazuki if we get lucky. But we're up to 9 fires, but again, we're over 600 gun hits. So shooting North Carolina, and then I'm going to transition back to shooting the Akazuki. Our shells are landing really close, but they're not quite hitting him since he has more of the cap progress. And we reset the North Carolina again. And also, the more defended ribbons you get, that helps with your base experience earnings. So, at this point, I didn't have to shoot at all. Like, as soon as they stepped onto, GK died, or Converti died, I could have just gone dark and ran, but I felt comfortable with what health pool I had left to run away from Bravo, and also that I knew Holland would be coming down from Alpha, and for them to win, they have to kill me. So we're going to go dark in the dying seconds of the match, essentially. And that actually is going to be a solo warrior, because there are 4 enemy ships left. So this is the 3rd solo warrior match I've had in World of Warships so far, and it was quite a challenge, but it was an enjoyable game. Stressful though. So 630,000 credits. We have General Offensive, Death Strike, Confederate, Solar Warrior, High Caliber, 190,000 damage. I wanted to increase the earnings there with getting more damage. So I was a little more greedy at the end. I could have gone dark, but I felt no threat to my life there because I had a Juliet Charlie combat signal, so I'm not going to detonate. So we're going to top the team with 2,297 base experience with 3 kills. So our Jean Bar and our GK did really good, helping us out there. But we had a pretty strong division between the Elbing and the Conqueror. Actually ran into the Elbing the next match, and we were talking a little bit about the battle, so that was a bit funny. Here you can see the damage layout. We had over 850,000 potential damage. This isn't a ship you use to farm potential damage because she lacks the maneuverability. But you can see 50,000 damage in firings and fires, and then the rest coming from our HE shells and torpedoes. And this is how we ended up with premium accounts. So this is my approach to playing this game with Harugumo. I'll talk more about the ship tomorrow in the upgrading commander build video. Harugumo is a lot of fun. She pumps out a lot of dakka. As you can see, we got 643 shell hits, and we even fired more shells that didn't land, of course. But I really like this style. Finally now having the Harugumo, as I'm always broke flimsy, running behind and grinding all these lines, because I could buy more ships right now, but I'm low on credits because I'm just trying to grind so many different ship lines within the game. But Harugumo is definitely a great ship. I definitely recommend her. If you like opening up with these 10 100mm guns. One of the things that really drew me to the Harugumo was the Sailing Robin. So he has a video on the Harugumo, I think Harugumemes, I think is the name of the video, something like that. And it is just a beautifully well done masterpiece. So maybe you'll see some more Harugumo videos from me soon. But that's going to wrap up today's video. So if you liked today's battle, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you are subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. And take care.